Dear students, let us begin the second part of the lesson in which we will be learning about reading data from the external source. In the last session, we have discussed about how to edit SPSS file. In this session, we will be learning about how to read the data from the different kind of external source. So, reading data. Data can be entered directly or it can be imported from a number of different sources. The processes for reading data stored in IBM SPSS statistics data files, spreadsheet application such as Microsoft Excel, database application such as Microsoft Access and text file are all discussed in this session. Basic structures of IBM SPSS statistics data files. IBM SPSS statistics data files are organized by cases, that is nothing but rows, and variables, that is nothing but columns. In this data file, cases represent individual respondents in a survey and variables represent responses to each question asked in the survey. Next, we will discuss about the data editor. So, now you can see here the variables as age, marital, address, income and income category, how the data editor will be looking in data view. Next, we will be seeing about reading IBM SPSS statistics data file. IBM SPSS statistics data file, which have a extension as .save file, contains your saved data. So, step 1 will be like from the menu, choose, go to file, open and data. In step 2, browse to and open the file which we are using as demo.sav. And in step 3, the data is now displayed in the data editor. Next, we see about how to open a data file. Now, we can see we have opened that demo.save file by using the option called file open data. Next, how to read the data from the Excel. Rather than typing all of your data directly into the data editor, you can read data from the applications such as Microsoft Excel. You can also read the column heading as the variable names given in the Microsoft Excel. Let us discuss about step 1 and step 2. In step 1, from the menu, choose file, import data and choose Excel and go to the samples English folder and select the demo.xlx file. Reading Excel data. The read Excel file dialog displays a preview of the data file. The contents of the first sheet in the file are displayed. If the file has multiple sheets, you can select the sheet from the list. You can see that some of the string values for gender have leading spaces. Some of the values for marital status are displayed as period, that is nothing but dot. Next, we will be discussing about how to read the Excel file dialog box. So, now you can see here this is the reading Excel dialog box. From this, you can see here we have the different kind of variables like age, gender, marital status, and you can see here we have clicked like read variables and percentage and ignore. We have enabled these things and at last we have to give OK. Next, we will be discussing about how to read the Excel data remaining steps. In step 3, make sure read variable names from the first row of the data is selected. In step 4, select remove leading spaces from the string values. In step 5, deselect the percentage of values that determine data type. This is what we shown in the previous slide. Next, we will be seeing about how the read Excel file dialog box will be looking. So, now you can see here further we made the enabled things like percentage we have disabled and the remaining things we have enabled and click OK. So, now we can able to read the Excel data. The string value no answer is now displayed in the cell that were system missing. If there is no percentage of values parameter and the column containing a mix of data types, the variable is read as string data type. All values are preserved one, but numeric values are treated as string values. Select, that is check percentage of values that determine data type to treat the marital status as a numeric variable. At last, click OK to read the Excel file. So, how to read the Excel data we will be further discussing. The data now appear in the data editor with the column heading used as variable names. Since variable names can't contain spaces, the spaces from the original column heading are removed. For example, the column heading marital status is converted to the variable marital space status. The original column heading is retained as the variable label. Then how to import data Excel will be looking in SPSS. Now you can see we have imported the data from the Excel and we are able to see the data in the SPSS spreadsheet. Next, how to read the data from a database. Data from database sources is easily imported using the database wizard. Any database that uses ODBC, that is nothing but open database connectivity, drivers can be read directly after the drivers are installed. One of the most common database application is Microsoft Access. Now we will be discussing how the database wizard welcome dialog box will be looking. So now you can able to see we have the welcome to the database wizard, and you can see here we have 3 different kind of files. You are going to choose it. We have to choose what file we are going to choose it, like Excel, SPSS, like Access, anything, any kind of database, and click next and give OK. Next we are going to see what are all the steps involved in reading data from the database. From the menu, choose file, then go to import data, then choose database, and at last choose the new query. Next select MS Access database from the list of data source and click next. Step 3, click browse to navigate to the Access database file that you want to open, and at last open the file demo.mdb, that is management database file, and step 5, click OK in the login dialog box. Step 6, specify the tables and variables that you want to import it. Let us see the remaining steps. Select data step. So you are going to select the data from the which database you want to choose it. So from this you can see here this is the databases available, and we can see here we have chosen what kind of variable we are going to choose it. We have selected and we have dragged it and give next. Next, step 7, drag the entire demo table to the retrieve fields in this order list. Click next. You can select which record, that is cases, to be imported. Click next to continue, and field names are used to create the variable names. If necessary, the names are converted to the valid variable names. And step 11 is click the recode to numeric cell in the gender field. Next, step 12, the previous option converts string variables to integer variable and retain the original value as the value label for the new variable what we created. Then click next to continue. The SQL statement created from your selection in the database wizard appears in the result step, and in step 15 above mentioned statement can be executed now or saved to a file for later use. Let us see about the remaining steps in how to read the database. Step 16, click finish to import the data, and step 17 is all of the data in the Access database that you selected to import is now available in the data editor. Now you can see how the variable steps can be defined. So you can see here we are going to define each variable what you have selected from the database. You have to give the resulted variable name and you have to create what kind of data type it belongs to. Then we have to click next. So reading data from a test file. Test file represent another common source of data. Many spreadsheet programs and database can save their contents in one of the many test file formats. Comma or tab delimited files refers to the row of data that use commas or tabs to indicate each variable. Next we will see about what are all the steps involved in reading data from a test file. For that, first step, from the menu choose file, import and test data. In step 2, go to samples English folder and select demo test. Step 3, in step 1 of the wizard you can choose the predefined format or create a new format in the wizard, that is select no. In step 4, click next to continue. This file use tab delimited formatting. Also the variable names are defined on the top line of the file. Let us see about the how the test import wizard looks like. So now you can see here this is the test document and how we are going to import the test document to the SPS file. Now, you can see here we have age and gender, these variables have been in the test file and we have imported those files into SPSS, and then click next. Next, see the remaining steps. In step 5, in step 2 of the wizard, select delimited to indicate that the file has a delimited formatting structures. In select X to indicate that the file includes variable name at the top of the file. Step 7, click next to continue. In step 3 of the wizard, enter 2 for the line number where the first case of data begins. Let us see how the steps involved in 9. Keep the default values for the remainder of this step and click next to continue. Select tab and deselect the other options for delimiters. Space is selected by default because the file contains already some spaces. For this file, spaces are part of the data value, not delimiters. You need to deselect space to read the file correctly. And in step 11, select remove leading space from the string values. Space at the start of the string values affect how string values are evaluated in expression. And in step 12, click next to continue. Let us see how the test import wizard, that is step 4 of the 6 looking. So, now we can see here which domain like we are going to delimit, that is tab, and second thing you can see here leading and training spaces, we have enabled the remove leading spaces from the string value, and you can see here what is the test quantifier, we are just giving as none, and from this below you can see here we have made age, gender, marital status can be imported from the test file to the SPSS sheet along with all other variables like address, income and job category. Then click next. The 13th step to read the data from the test file is to change a data type. In the data preview, select income and select dollar from the dollar format, that is data format drop down list. Next, we see about the how to change the data type. You can see the how we are going to change the data type. We have the variable name called income, and you can see here data format as a dollar. Now, we can see here this is the income variable what we have chosen, and we are going to change that as data format as dollar, and then click next. Next, we will see about the 15th step. With the default setting of 95% for percentage of values that determine the automatic data format, the variable is treated as numeric and the string values are set to system missing. And in step 16, we are going to click next to continue. Leave the default selection in the last step and click finish to import the data from the test file. So far in this section we have discussed like how to extract the data from the external source like Excel, database and test file. I hope you understand all the concept what we have discussed now. We will continue in the next video about examining summary statistics and missing value. Thank you.